Hi, my name is Cindy Cisneros, a licensed therapist, certified creativity coach, and I am the writer of Creative Therapy. And this week we are covering a mindful approach for sensitive and intuitive thinkers, healthy weight, creative life. And I want to cover some of the information that is out in the world swirling around about healthy weight, weight loss strategies, everything from injections to dieting to weight loss culture, to give those who are healthy and sensitive and intuitive, healthy seeking, creative people that are my readers a little bit of clarity and slice through some of the noise. So let's start out by giving you, and this video, if you're seeing it on YouTube, has a link to the full article. And if you're not wanting to read the full article, that's what this video is for, is to give you a little bit of an overview. Let's start out with, you've probably been inundated with information about what is healthy in terms of weight loss in the world. Everything from healthy weight to diet trends, fitness programs, intermittent fasting, keto, paleo, intuitive eating, countless approaches. Now weight loss injections have hit the market. You may be feeling torn between self-acceptance or the desire to make changes. What's the right thing to do? And I always start these off by telling you, as a therapist, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I am going to hopefully give you enough information so you can begin to make some choices that feel right for your creative, sensitive, intuitive, bright mind. But what I do want to say too is this constant noise for you can feel especially challenging because of how you process the world so deeply, noticing these subtle kind of nuances and changes that other people overlook. You can feel things really intensely, which can mean all of this rigid advice can feel very overwhelming to you. And then you can lose sight of what's really important, which is finding things that are sustainable, and most importantly to you as a creative person, something that is authentic and coming from a place of self-love and appreciation. And if you pull all of that together, that's really where you're going to find, as a creative soul, as a creative mind, something that is the best and most healthy advice for you. So this article is going to go over at a high level. I'm not a doctor. I am a clinical therapist. Some of this information, and point you in some directions where you can continue to dive to make more decisions and get information and make more plans for yourself. I want to start off with this very important concept of we are all born into different bodies. And a lot of times what we see in the media is the representation of the same body, or a lot of the advice that we get is based off of this assumption or lack of assumption that we are born into different bodies, or that we're all born into the same body. So we need to start this conversation off celebrating and recognizing the fact that we are all born into different bodies, lean shapes, curvier shapes, somewhere in between shapes. And this is something that we want to understand, acknowledge, and celebrate, and start our journey from a place of authenticity from who we are. And these external pressures can be particularly intense, and they are oftentimes cookie cutter approach, and we can pick something that is not meant for us because of these external pressure. But again, going back to where I started, your creativity thrives on authenticity. So picking something that suits you and your needs and honoring your unique qualities is what is going to give you the most joy, the most wellness, and the most longevity. Following rigid standards that are set across the board is not what we need. Now let's talk about health at any weight versus restriction culture, because in terms of what's out there, these two seem to be very polarized, right? Health at every weight is a movement that's really trying to create acceptance and support around all different types of body shapes. And this in and of itself is a good thing. But then restriction culture is is diet culture, right? Is fitness culture. And this is trying to create these, like, I would say probably pretty similarly shaped bodies, but there are some good things that go into these things too. But again, these are opposite sides of the spectrum, and these are both very widely supported. So what's the truth? Oftentimes, when we see things that are wildly opposed and upheld at both ends of the spectrum, and I'm saying oftentimes, and this is one of those times, the truth and the best practice is somewhere in the middle. So the reality for you is somewhere in between. It's not about fitting into a specific weight category, nor is it about ignoring realities about impacts of nutrition, movement, or lifestyle, regardless of which end of the spectrum you pick. It's not about focusing solely on weight. I think that's really the takeaway. What you really are going to do the best is focusing on things like nutrition over numbers, movement that feels good, personalized health goals, and you can figure out what all of this looks like for you and your body with professional support. And this all boils down to, this is a complex issue, right? This is not a same for everybody issue. The key takeaway is you don't have to choose between body acceptance and health. They both need to coexist in a space that is healthy and sustainable, where you feel nourished, supported, and able to sustain the lifestyle and the creative lifestyle that you love. And so I guess my follow-up question to myself, to you, when I was writing this article is, well, does weight matter? What is the honest answer? And again, it's nuanced. Weight alone does not determine your overall well-being. Okay, but it is an indicator of physical health. But it's one of many indicators of physical health. And it's something that culture has become obsessed with and gone perhaps too far with. It is an indicator, like nutrition, like movement, like sleep, like stress management, like many things. So rather than focusing on an arbitrary number, it's best to consider how weight interacts with other aspects of your health. It can contribute as a physical standpoint to certain health risks that you can talk to your provider about and see what that means to you. But on the other hand, being physically underweight can also have certain health risks. So the number alone is not the whole picture. Again, we're going back to what matters is how your body functions, how your body feels, what is your energy and stamina, what are your particular body health needs, complications, and what can your provider help you paint a picture around with those questions? Do you feel strong, capable, and at ease in your body? Can you fuel your body in a way that provides nourishment as the focus rather than depletion, rather than the focus? Is there a better question for you to build your lifestyle around rather than simply, am I the right weight? And I think overall, this is really the healthier focus. There are better insights for you than a BMI chart. This is a whole health focus. Weight does matter as a part of your puzzle, but not in the way that society makes it seem. It's not about chasing a perfect weight. It's about finding a healthy balance where you are nourished and able to carry your life in a healthy, happy, fulfilling way. So let's take a little sidestep to injectables. These have hit the market, and I don't know that any of us haven't heard of it, but if you haven't, there are semaglutides, trizepatides. Did I say that right? For those of you who are more medically informed about this than me, apologies for my mispronunciations, but there's a couple of different ones that have hit the market, and they monitor and help, not monitor, they help moderate your weight in a couple of different ways. Sometimes by regulating appetite, sometimes by regulating blood sugar levels. I'm not a physician. I'm not going to go into the details of the hows and the whys. However, they are a medical intervention, and they should be taken seriously because they involve your metabolic health. These are not a magic, they're not a pill at all, but per the expression, they're not a magic pill. They're not meant to replace mindful, sustainable health practices. Let me just give you a little bit more information about where you could access them and learn more. There's kind of three main categories of places where I've seen these crop up, and there certainly may be others, but just in terms of broad strokes, medical providers, we like this, emphasis on these, doctors, endocrinologists, dietitians. This is the safest and most informed way to explore and learn more about injectables through a licensed medical professional. By the way, the next two I'm going to tell you, if you're going to use them, find them with a licensed medical professional. The second one is telehealth and apps. So digital platforms can make it easier to get prescriptions. Find them with medical oversight, because this is your big caveat. They don't all have medical oversight. So please connect with licensed professionals and don't just do a transactional approach, because then you're less clear on what you're getting, who you're getting it from, what's going into your body, and why. And that can be really dangerous. And then med spas and aesthetic clinics. Now, some med spas offer injectable treatments. I caution you again to look for those that include medical professionals and are less focused on appearance-based results that are not medically driven or medically sourced, because both do exist. So ask the questions and do your research. Here's some best practices when it comes to injectables. And again, weight loss injectables, broad strokes. Seek professional guidance. Pair with sustainable habits. An injectable alone is not a wellness plan. We need to think about other things that we can bring into our life that will help us have the healthy lifestyle that we want, that makes us feel good and live the authentic lives that we can feel good about. Watch for emotional and mental health impacts. And I think that many providers who provide injectables, medical providers, will recommend to you coaches or therapists and other support systems. And we're going to come back to that. And consider the impact on your creative energy. How is this making you feel? After all, that's the whole point. We want to live healthy, happy lives. So there is in the article here a highlight of a local med spa that is a team of experienced physical assistants under the guidance of a medical director. This is what we like. The place is called Grace, and it is here in Eldersburg for those of you that are local. Now, there is a whole feature in this article about what their practices are, and they're wonderful, feel-good, beautiful, supportive, holistic place. They're also a really great example of and model of the sorts of places you should be looking for. Even reach out to them and talk to them and ask them directly questions that you may have. Their information is backlinked into this article. Rebecca and Emma are the physician assistants, and the medical director is Dr. Jess Hobbs. Now, I told you I'd give you a quick nod to support. Please get support as a creative person. We know you're sensitive. We know you're intuitive. And while you're making decisions about your weight, having support is important for emotional resilience, for accountability without pressure, for gentle, just the right level of check-in, for navigating challenges with compassion, and for celebrating your wins. You want to be able to check in with somebody that's making sure you're keeping focus on the right thing while being kind and compassionate with yourself and pointed in the right direction. As we've kind of discussed so far, there's a lot of pressure in society about weight. Are you staying true to yourself, or how are you being influenced? Are you feeling good? Are you swerving over into a perfectionist? What are we looking at and feeling? And then there's a quick list here of places that you could be getting your support. Again, your medical team, your medical providers, doctors, dietitians, healthcare professionals. They should be providing the groundwork for you. Therapists and coaches. Now, the section following this up is going to give you some key things you could work on in therapy. That's my point of view as a therapist of what I like to be working on in therapy with my clients who are focusing on best healthy weight for them from a therapy perspective, but also include your friends and partners that are supportive to you, keyword being supportive, and also family members, again, that are involved in your daily life and supportive. And their goals are aligned and supportive with what your goals for yourself are. Now, I'm not going to delve too far into how therapy can help you on your weight loss journey and what kind of support it will provide you, some of the things that we would work on. But just to suffice to say, we would work on things like addressing if emotional eating is a topic that comes up a lot for many of us. I know that that's something that I work on with myself. Building a healthier relationship with your body. I think that's something that impacts most or many of us. Perfectionism and self-criticism we're highly vulnerable to as creative people, and this bleeds over from the work that we do, whether professionally or creatively, into the way that we look and see ourselves. Stress management and coping skills, motivation and self-efficacy, And back to that holistic plan, how does that transfer from what you're working on with your provider to how you're executing it with yourself? And that's a good place for therapy to meet what you're doing medically. And then oftentimes I will partner with physicians or providers who are doing the injectables to provide that support from a therapeutic standpoint. So this was a very quick overview of embracing your creative health journey. When you're thinking about this multifaceted journey that involves much more than a number on a scale. Remember, this path to wellness is again about balance, that key balance between mind, body, and spirit that is so elusive, but as creative people, it's really important to us, and the emotional, societal challenges that we face along the way, but ultimately wanting to honor that creativity and authenticity. So if I can answer more questions for you, please check out this article. It's at creativelyllc.com/blog. You can also reach out and connect with me through my website, creativelyllc.com. There is a free discovery call for anybody who is interested in a chat, or you can connect with me through my email, which is questions@creativelyllc.com. Bye.